Who's waving their hand or has their hand up to speak?
There's someone here, but they're not.
It's my wife.
They're not dying.
Okay, so we're good to proceed?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. No audience business. We'll be moving on to the payables report. In your packet, you have a payables report dated September 20 to October 8th, 2025. You have also comments, a summary regarding the payables. Any questions or comments on the payables?
I did raise a question earlier today in the email about the charges for September from the sheriff's office. It was my understanding that those were waived, so I'm wondering if that's dated incorrectly or if there was. I don't remember us paying them for July and August, honestly. Oh yeah, August is on here, I'm sorry. I don't remember us paying July.
I thought we did pay July. Hugh, do you remember? I thought we did. Things got a little bit out of order.
I know
because
they're
they
in
got
our
behind.
little-
They were
yeah.
May and June, but I thought July got paid and I was thinking we didn't pay August. So,
I was just curious if there was a.
September, they were waiving.
September, it was my understanding was waived, and that was also what was alluded to, not alluded to, that was stated in the commissioners.
You approved that too.
Yes,
Yeah.
so I was curious about that charge.
so should that come off
And
then?
then we pulled that until,
I'm looking.
Okay,
Yes, I can pull. This is to the one.
So
so,
it would be approval of payables with the exception of the September invoice from the Clear Creek County Sheriff's Office.
Well, actually, I'm sorry, I just noticed something on here, it says GPD 7/2025 on that invoice number.
right,
So that would allude, that would. Make
so that
me-
would make
That made
July,
me
but we
think it
got
was-
it in September. This is what's been wonky.
Yep.
Yeah,
So I think that was what I'm so sorry, I didn't notice that it said GPD 7/25 in
that
the
either.
invoice number, I only saw the September IGA
which is when it was
on the
received.
description, which is what threw me. So I don't think it's an issue necessarily.
So we're actually good with both of those because I think it catches us up.
I did not, yeah, I did not think we did pay for July yet.
Okay, any other questions or comments on the payables?
on page 6 or 2 of the payables, under traffic control, the $16,000 rounded off. Signage and traffic management, is any of that reusable or were those all consumable signs? So
Most-
next year, because we know leaks will come in.
It's a combination of the signs that we purchased and had made for the traffic plan here, and it's also partially the contribution that we made through the digital signs that were at the entrance to Guanella Pass and on Guanella Pass.
So how much of that, so are we
So they're
anticipating another $17,000 or $17,000 next year if all things remain the same, or how do you foresee this?
This is intended to be a one-time thing as, in both instances. Excuse me. Participating with the sheriff's office's signs and contributing to that one-time thing. We saved a lot of the, signs that we ordered specifically for this, but we will be ordering new signs here and there as we need them, like if signs get destroyed. Or if we modify the traffic plan next year where we require no left turns that we don't have currently in our inventory. But we will not be spending this amount of money next
Okay.
year.
So most of this is reusable.
Absolutely.
Okay, very good.
And then back on page 1, under the police department, the internet, the Comcast charge for the police department that doesn't exist, and the fire station who probably uses it.
It says PD fire station, so it must be the fire station. Is that what we're thinking, Kim?
It's the internet that's in the police, yes, it's in the police station, that we don't have police out. With the fire department.
So why are we continuing to pay for internet for a department that doesn't function and utilize that?
That must have been an oversight. We will call Comcast, get a refund and cancel that.
So it's not for the fire department, it was for the PD.
We will check into that.
Okay.
It wasn't under.
Probably made sense to probably keep it until we
Yeah.
actually knew that we didn't wanna
Cause
The
it's.
direction.
We haven't had a police department functioning for a year now.
But we.
So we are throwing away $3,600, is that what
I'm
I'm?
not saying that, I'm just saying that's probably why, I'm not.
He's just saying, he's not saying it's okay, he's just
Yeah.
saying this is
I'm
what
just
happened.
saying, make.
So we'll check that out.
I'd like to think we're more fiscally responsible.
We'll rectify that.
Yeah, so we're gonna check out
We'll rectify it.
Comcast, we're okay on the police services, the IGA, anything else, any other?
I have two questions.
Yeah,
We have asphalt patch for a total of 12,700
Right.
split between two different accounts.
look on page 6.
Yes, page 6,
There's under, road maintenance
6,350 apiece.
and down by maintenance equipment, there's asphalt patch twice.
That was part of the repair, the state of the water department.
Right, and how big an area was patched, roughly?
It was roughly a 4x8 strip of asphalt that was in the roadway that we had to dig up to get to the leak.
32 square foot for
Oh.
12 grand.
So you had to dig it up and then you had to put it back?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
That seems a lot. And then we have Ramey Environmental assisting WW. $10,441 total.
Yes.
That's under the new contract that the board approved, I
Mm-hmm.
wanna say August.
Right.
Yeah, that's in line with what the proposal was made by Raymond.
Right, and it's just split up for the different categories of, distribution of that cost.
Yeah, they're doing work in the water department and the sewer department.
Okay. Any other questions or comments on the payables? Okay, so do I have a motion to approve the payables with the caveat that the Comcast PD fire station charges will be looked at and we'll be making sure that those have not been, that we have not been overcharged for that. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Mary? I'm sorry, who was second?
Alex can have it, that's fine.
Who?
Alex.
Alex, thank you. All those in favor? Any opposed? Thank you. The payables are accepted with the edits noted. Next, we have the minutes approval from the Board of Selectmen regular meeting dated September 23rd. I know that there have been some edits provided to Bridget, which she has and will put into effect. Any other edits that were not provided to Bridget that we want to bring up at this time? Okay,
Can someone remind me what the, on the minutes? On the last page where Rich Barrows was sharing information from the fire authority. It says he also shared with the fire authority working on a 2026 budget and succession plan.
He was not very specific. It was, he was basically saying that the fire authority is putting foundations in place for the future.
But so I don't think it's this kind of succession then. Look at the, this.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
You know, there, so, well, then I suggest that since we don't have that information, perhaps we strike that.
Yeah.
strike
don't
what,
have
and
any
succession
plan. Just see, I would, yeah. you're right.
budget and is in discretion, so we'll strike and succession plan.
Correct.
Any other edits? Okay, do I have a motion to approve the September 23rd regular Board of Selectmen meeting minutes with the striking out of the and succession plan as noted on the last page?
So moved.
Amanda, second? Alex,
Alex?
all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. The minutes are approved from September 23rd. Okay, we go on to our first agenda item number 1, which is the Argentine North Improvement Plan acceptance. You have that in your packet. And this is regarding, the idea you have this folded document that you want to look at. And so there it is. Ta-da! And we happen to have in front of
Cindy
us,
brought post
for those of you who are on Zoom, there's a very large board that Cindy Neely is holding up. And in your packet, you should have this, which should be exactly that. And that explains, Cindy or Dennis, who was gonna talk about this? Okay, very good. Cindy, you have the floor.
The board previously approved us hiring THK Associates to assist us with creating this plan. One of the reasons that, well, just a very brief background, THK Associates in 2002 helped create our master plan for Argentine Street. So they seem to be a logical firm to go back and to continue this. In the intervening years, THK has become the foremost landscape architect firm in the state of Colorado. So it's sort of fun that we have a THK project in our town too. They designed the twin tunnels. They designed Fisher's Peak, New State Park. They have just redone Thornton's park system. They're well known at the things that they do. So on July 30th, we held the design charrette, and some of you were present. 20 people came, and I was very pleased that people actively occupied some of the townhomes and some of the residences down along the Argentine North Route did show up for our design charrette. The more fun board, which we did not make, is the one that's covered with their comments. And they wrote all over it, which was really quite fun. And it was fairly unanimous that because we are developing so much residential over here, that no one really wanted to see more on the other side of the street, especially given the highway was in back. What they were really looking for was something that in vegetation and ability for them to use as open space would help create some sort of break between what all, this is, you can see them here, these are the recent apartments. So this only goes down that far because this is the town's property and we can only really plan our own property. This property will be developed into 3 commercial brick buildings sometime in the near future, we think. And then the town's zoned property ends, though there is still a distance that goes down to 22nd Street. But the I-70 right of way comes closer and closer to where we are, and the whole thing curves in. The plan, this is right now where we are storing millings and Roden Bridge is sort of housing. We have millings and a whole bunch of stuff that I don't quite understand where it came from. It looks like maybe leftover Excel stuff. Then there is the section in here where a little creek comes through, and I call it a creek because it runs year round. It's not a one of those that is just temporary in runoff season. It does run year round. And this section is heavily wooded at the moment. Then next to it is that open field, which from the point of view of the people who are at the charrette would make a wonderful sort of play area that was not full of playground things, but just open area. And maybe a little skate park or something beside it, so that there's a place for their kids in their immediate neighborhood. And as you all know, we have a helipad that actually right now sits about here with some parking on either side of it. And our idea would be to move the helipad down some and give it some parking that would break it off from the commercial. This would be purely helipad parking next to it because you can't have it in a parking lot and then have somebody decide they're landing a helicopter and they need an ambulance. But it still leaves another section which would again go for event parking, because I think we've all seen it during pond hockey and other kinds of events. We need a place for a couple of 100 cars. And that's probably almost not sufficient, but this does make the place for a couple of 100 cars. This parking area would be essentially multi-purpose, would bring into it electricity and such. So if you wanted to fill it with food trucks, if you wanted to fill it with a farmer's market, if you wanted to do all kinds of things in that space, it would be a more flexible space. So that would be the intent on those spaces. So to begin the overall plan, we'll probably come to that next. We are at first requesting that the board give support to this concept. Any questions?
I think it's awesome.
Looks really good. It's clean.
Looks
But-
lovely.
Yeah, it's a great use of the
Yeah.
space.
Shouldn't we kick this to planning and DRC first? Because if there's, well, and that's part, I know that's part of the plan. Or the next steps for their feedback or input. Because if there was a recommendation or change, then that comes back to us for, so I'm afraid we might be giving early approval and then it goes to them and then they're like, oh, no, or we want this instead.
I don't mind, I mean, it makes sense to me.
So that's what the staff recommendation is, to accept this evening and kick it to planning commission for comments by date certain, and then I'll come back to you with their comments for final approval. That's our intention. And,
So we
They
at least
have-
see it first.
Well, so we saw it, but I think we should go to them before we accept and approve it.
that's the recommended motion. Yes.
I didn't read it as that, I just read it as that we were, to me, acceptance is, sure, we like this exactly the way it is, and then if all of a sudden they change it or recommend a change.
Then it has to come back.
Yeah, or if
Coming
there's
back to us.
conflict, so I'd rather have them see it, you know.
We have
weighed
this-
on it.
I understand what you're
Yeah,
saying, Mary.
I do too.
My language that I use, and I'll change it, is acceptance means receive in your hands, approval means endorsement and actual
So
approval,
we received this.
Yes.
and then refer it.
And you have no major comments that say that, hey, no, you don't wanna go this direction at all. Because if you don't wanna go this direction at all,
We
we're
save
not
the
trotting this around to every other commission.
And both those groups have seen this.
Yes.
And we gave it to the Parks Commission too, so that they were aware of what
Yeah.
this was being planned. Because they wanted to understand what some long-term projects were when they're putting their CIP together, so they have seen this as well.
Oh, right, and that's the next step, because that's what we're gearing up for.
Yeah, right,
So, you know, and I realize that it's all intertwined, and so I just wanna make sure that we're following that path.
So we're accepting the
Yeah.
concept, maybe that's a way to
accepting
say
the
it.
plan and referring it.
Accepting
for
the
comment.
concept of the plan and then referring it on. Mhm.
And then you'll see there is an item later on the agenda, which Cindy is proposing to purchase a bunch of trees so that in the spring we can start planting along Argentine.
Oh, you want me to do that part? I wonder.
Well, let's do one and then the next one.
I
That's a
just-
separate
yeah.
item.
Well, it's the
Yeah.
next item, so,
Yeah,
yeah,
the next
not that way.
The
But I
next-
mean, if we
yeah,
want
the
to
next
approve
item
this
would
before we
be
go on.
To start our tree line on the east side of the street.
Mhm.
Not the west side of the street yet, because we would have things that we need to clear up and clear out and figure out. Actually, because of the nature of the soils, we have to be real careful with the plantings over here, because the soil has had years of sand and now mag chlor. So you have soil that loves to kill plants in some part of this. So we have to be real careful of how we create this border back here. But putting the street trees all the way from up here, where the lights start, all the way down off of this, down to just before the microtel. And the street trees go in between the street lights, that's the lights are.
So where are any of the remaining utility poles on the west side there, that those trees might eventually impact when they do get big?
Well, they should be fine. They should be fine because the poles are not where, yeah.
Well, we moved a lot of them, we buried a lot of them.
We buried everything down to here. That's the end of where we buried the lines, and yes, the lines come up over there, but the lines are back further.
But so there's no overhead lines on
No.
the tree line. I know we're jumping ahead to number 2 here on our.
Yeah, there are
agenda,
no overhead lines on the.
Where
tree
the
line.
new trees are proposed. Why are we proposing cottonwoods?
Oh, I'm proposing cottonwoods because that is how we have designed all of Argentine Street, and it continues to pattern down the street. I'm proposing cottonwoods because they are great survivors in putting their little roots down to where the water table is. And they take hold quite well. The cotton trees that are between 11th Street and 15th Street right now are celebrating their 11th birthday with us. And
Do we have
they,
a party?
yeah, we should, because we did not lose a single tree
But we also pay a lot of money to take down the cottonwoods that,
that were planted 100 years ago.
well, I don't know their birthday.
Yes, well,
They're
actually,
centennials.
the street trees, I do know their birthday. They were planted when Henry Neisel got doing the fancier sidewalks for the town. Those cottonwoods that are, for instance, the stump in front of the Bowman White House that really needs to be ground out at this point along the line, those trees were planted in 1892.
That's amazing.
And there's the pictures of the ones that were in front of and alongside of the Hamel House that were planted in the 1880s, and they were cottonwood. They weren't cottonless cottonwood, they had plenty of cotton. HDI took down the ones that are alongside the Hamel House in the 1990s, I think it was. And along Third Street, and replanted all of them. And again, every single one of them has survived, and they also turn bright yellow and make our town quite beautiful to see.
So we'll have to divert our traffic so that people can see them.
No, the people who are able to.
Oh, come on.
Still shell shocked.
So,
And they're survivors, they really are survivors. And as you can tell, I was very insistent that we find trees that are born in the mountains. That may sound silly, but it proves to not be silly. And so we have discovered a tree farm in McCoy, Colorado. Where I, exactly. It's
a bunch of
Trump, has he? McCoy,
no, quite.
Well, neither have I, but it turns out to be a census designated place that's on Route, 131, about 30 miles north of Avon. And he does wholesale trees to nurseries all over.
So let's just get backwards to approving this, and then let's talk about trees, because trees is next, and so it's gonna be perfect, as you said, the perfect segue.
Discussion now.
So for this charrette plan concept, do we have a motion from the board to accept this as it currently is? And then pending referral to planning and to the DRC for comment?
I'm going to accept the Argentine North Improvement Plan and refer to the planning commission and the RC for comment.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Great, thank you very much, Cindy, for that. You might as well remain standing. Because now we're going to complete our tree conversation, which is great. And this is your item number 2, McCoy Street tree bid, and we just heard part of that from the conversation about cottonwoods and why and McCoy Tree Farm. So do we have further comments or questions about that?
Well, the interesting part of it is, I think we started because the trees, and they are a wholesale outfit, but they sell to communities at their wholesale prices.
No.
Which is really very, very nice. So the price of the trees is very reasonable. We then have to do a little thing about delivery of 30 trees. I did walk this with Kevin from one end to the other, and he was the one who kept pushing down the street saying, we're gonna finish this, we're gonna do the whole thing. And he's not worried about the taking care of them because they're right along the street and getting them started. He kept telling me he has a water truck, they'll be fine.
So the 30, I'm imagining, is you're counting out the spacing, as Mary noted earlier, for when they're tall and they get bigger, and this is the number that we need and all of that.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
And that quote does include the trees delivery and the labor.
Yes, and planting.
That's amazing.
I think it's amazing.
Yes.
But not that spring.
Super.
Not till spring, no, of course not till spring.
Yeah,
Not gonna plant till
So are we
spring.
paying them now?
It's a 50% deposit up front. We could pay them for the whole thing now, but
What would that do to the, is it better to pay it now or is it better to put it?
No, it doesn't matter. If you pay him now, it means that he will make sure that he's got your trees identified now.
Yeah,
just
that's-
something to keep in mind with the budget.
That's what I'm thinking is for the budget though.
We currently have $50,000 allocated to that fund, so we have the money this year to pay for it. But we just need to keep it in mind for next year, if we're paying the other half next year.
But so we could pay the 50% now so that we secure the tree.
Yeah.
And then towards the end of the year, if it turns out that we can pay it out of this year's funds as opposed
Yeah.
to.
Yes, very probably should.
all right. And then I'm imagining these trees, if they die, they'll be replaced if one or two dies or whatever the number is.
I don't know what his level of guarantee is. He may have a year. But he doesn't have 10.
These cotton, these the ones that will blow the cotton wool?
No,
Okay, so they're cottonless.
they're cottonless.
Okay.
Narrowly cottonless.
And they're pretty yellow in the fall, they're very pretty. All right, any other questions for Cindy or anybody on the trees?
I moved to approve the quote for 30 narrowly cottonwoods for $20,750.
Thank you. All right, all those in favor? Any opposed? Great, thank you very much, Cindy, we really appreciate it.
That looks so pretty on the.
That's
traffic plan. It's
It's going to be very, very pretty that it has passed. Okay, agenda item number 3. Strauss Park parking lot bid. Dennis, did you want to talk to this a little bit?
I think, this is a long and circuitous project that we're finally getting through, and we're very happy to be able to do this. The funds were set aside for this project back in the 24 budget, I think, and now we have gone through this year. After I came in April, Bob has done a really good job of going through 2 rounds of trying to get viable bids, but they turned out to be very expensive. Either that or we couldn't get bids the first time around. So what we did is we went back to Banky and we asked him to give us a quote for this, knowing what we had experienced before. His original quote was $50-some thousand. And so that was more than double our budget for this project. So we went back and Bob discussed with Banky a better way of doing this, and they adjusted the sub-base requirements for the lot and the materials that they were going to use, and came up with a new plan with a new quote for $26,240 from Banky. And so we're very happy to be able to get this project done before the snow flies.
Great, any questions?
One of course,
Yeah.
one of the concerns that was discussed at business promotions when the parking lot was discussed was the size of the stones or the gravel that go in there. Because in our gentle mountain breezes and things get kicked up, and when we used to have a brewery and restaurant across the street, people were sitting outside, or we had events of different things, whether the size of the stones would be large enough to, for weight, so that it wouldn't become all over, or hitting the windows or blowing into people if they're, sitting outside or whatever. So, and I know Bob Hamilton at the time took, made a point of that. So I'm wondering, though, not knowing what the size is.
It's three-quarter inch.
Well, I know,
But isn't it gonna blow away?
but I don't know if 3/4 inches sizable or not. I mean, we did definitely talk about like not pea gravel kind of thing for
Right.
that very reason. And I'm sure DRC has some input on this, or a representative from there.
We think that the 3/4 will do the trick,
Okay.
but we're also doing a compaction at the end with our,
Thank you.
You're rolling.
the roller.
And
Yeah,
also, will it be coated too in some way so that it also suppresses
I don't think
A lot of
initially it's gonna be
movement?
coated, but we do have that plan for the future,
Okay.
yes.
But just compacting it properly and getting.
The steamroller is compact. That's key.
Will make a huge amount of difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's one of those cost savings things that the two of them got together and identified, if he borrows the town's equipment, he does not have to charge us for rental from the steamroller. So that's good.
Yeah, no, and I noticed that. I just wanted to make sure that the size of the stones that were being brought in, that had been a consideration.
Yeah, we don't
Because
want
it
them,
was pushed back on, or, you know, off on the back burner for a while, so.
Yeah, no, we wanna make sure it doesn't like be blowing in people's faces. Absolutely. So any other questions or comments on the bid?
How long would this project take to complete? I heard something about before the snow flies, couple of days.
Yeah.
Okay.
it's gonna be very weather dependent. And so the contractor Banky's gonna have to be, and that's what's nice about having Banky do it is
Yeah.
he's usually readily available for us when we need it.
What's the deadline? This is separate for us to use up all the ARPA money. I thought it was. Wasn't it this year?
No, we had to allocate all of the funds by the end of last year,
Okay.
and I think we have to the end of 2026.
Okay, that was one of my worries. I was like, is there more money that we have to spend?
Yes.
Cause I know we all,
Actually, the back.
I saw that and that was very helpful. I guess.
Yeah, that was.
I just wanted to make sure that we weren't like,
That's what we allocated at the end of 2024
cause we gave all the rest of it to Cindy.
to the Argentine North.
Yes.
You're gonna spend.
She's good at that.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? There's a motion in your packet. Would anyone like to make that motion?
I will.
Okay, Alex?
I move that the Board of Selectmen accept the bid from East Slope Excavating for $26,240 and authorize police judge Copeland to sign documents related to this project.
Second,
Sorry.
all those in favor? Any opposed? Thank you. That passes. That bid is accepted.
Thank you, Cindy.
Yes, thank you, Cindy, very much for coming and being here.
You're not staying around for the GRC one?
Very end.
That the very last one?
Yeah, we'll talk.
We'll call you.
We can get her on soon. Okay, item number 4 is Alex Cordill's, the Cordill Construction Professional Services Agreement. Who would like to comment on that?
I'll be talking about that.
Very good, Keisha, thank you.
So you recall that Kimberly Knox donated $18,000 to the restoration of the Foster's Place Playground in City Park. So we have been searching for somebody to repair what needs to be fixed and do continuous maintenance on it annually, as she intends to give that $18,000 every year. So we did speak with Rocky Mountain Playground Company. We were trying to find a playground professional that could repair it, but due to the custom nature of Foster's Place, they're not able to complete that service. So we requested some quotes from some local contractors. Alex Cordill is a trusted construction contractor and provided us a very reasonable quote, which is attached for the restoration of one specific part of the Foster's Place, which is the train. We feel that is sort of the area that's in most need of repair in the immediate time. He proposed $1,600 to repair this last section, which is very reasonable.
Yeah.
So what we are proposing is that the board approve a professional services contract so we can hire Alex in an ongoing way within budget to do repairs on the playground as needed. So the first step is the professional services contract approval so that we can solicit work from him as we go in the same way that Cindy Neely and Bob Levinson work for us within budget and direction of the town administrator.
So one question I had, if I can ask a question now? So the exhibit A that's attached is very specific to the $1,600 project.
It is.
And so if we want this to be a broader kind of approval of, hey, we want Alex to do this, do we want that exhibit A to be different? Do we want to handle that differently, just so that it is broader than one project?
This is a professional services contract for ongoing service. I included that contract for reference, but it's not the